يا أيها الناس قد جاءكم برهان من ربكم وأنزلنا إليكم نورا مبينا.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. This video is a practical lesson where we will look at various words taken from the Qur'an and identify the Mudood in them. Some words can be identified as having more than one mad, and in these cases we take the stronger mad according to the levels of Mudood by Sheikh As-Samnudi. All Mudood are not of the same level. Some are strong and some are weak. The strength is according to the timing, according to Sheikh Ibrahim As-Samnudi, who was one of the early scholars from Egypt. He says in his poem,
أقوى المدود لازم فما اتصل فعارض فذو انفصال فبدل ثم الطبيعي ولين يا فتى واللين أضعاف المدود قد آتى.
So the Mudood according to their strength are Lazim, Muttasil, Arid, Munfasil, Badal, Tabi'i, Leen. And in the following practical examples, we will classify the mad according to the strength. So to identify the mad in this word, in the first instance, we can see that the Hamza is followed by a mad letter, which would make it into a mad badal. However, because the alif is followed by another Hamza, then this would make it mad muttasil, which is stronger than mad badal according to Maratib al-Mudood. So in continuation, we have mad muttasil, 4 or 5 harakat, and in stopping, because it's a Hamza ended, because it's a muttasil ended in Hamza, the mad is mad muttasil arid li sukoon, which can be 4, 5 or 6 harakat in stopping. In this example, wa iyaya, in continuation we have no mad because all the letters are with haraka, so there's no mad letter. However, in stopping, we stop on the last letter with a sukoon, which is ya, and the ya is preceded by an alif, which is after the ya mushaddad letter, which would make it into mad arid li sukoon in waqaf, wa iyay. In the next example, we can see there are 2 mad letters in this word. We have an alif with a alif sign, with a mad sign on top, and we have an alif written in the small form, in its minor form. So we need to identify which mad letters we have here. The first alif is called mad al-faraq. Mad al-faraq is the result of the meeting of 2 hamzas. A questioning hamza has met with a hamzat al-wasl in a noun, and this has resulted in the changing of hamzat al-wasl into a mad letter alif. And as a result, we have mad faraq. There are 2 ways that we can read mad al-faraq. We can read it as mad lazim, which is 6 harakat, or we can read it with tasheel, which is with no mad. Tasheel is reading the letter, this letter, the middle letter, between an alif and a hamza without any mad. So if we read it with mad lazim, it will be as follows: al-ana. And if we read it with tasheel, it will be as follows: al-ana. So with tasheel, we're reading the middle letter, the second hamza, which is ibdal from hamzatul wasl, in between a hamza and an alif. So it's not a clear hamza and it's not a clear alif. And on the second mad letter here, because we have a hamza followed by a mad letter, we have mad badal in wasl, which is 2 harakat, and in stopping we stop on the noon with sukoon, which makes this mad into mad badal arid li sukoon in stopping, which is 2, 4 or 6 harakat. This is the same word as the one above, the difference being that there is no questioning hamza which has entered into this noun. So therefore we have no mad farak, because there's no meeting of 2 hamzas. So we only have one mad letter in this word, the small alif after the hamza. So again, it's the same as the second mad in the above word. We have mad badal in wasl, and we have mad badal arid li sukoon in waqaf. So in this example, we have 2 mad letters. We have a small ya written in its minor form, and we have an alif written in its minor form. So on the first mad letter, we have mad badal, because the hamza is followed by a mad letter. So we have mad badal in wasl and waqaf. And on the alif here, we have mad tabi'i, because the alif is not followed or preceded by a hamza, and there's no sukoon following the mad letter. Therefore we just have, there's no reason for any mad, therefore the mad is just mad tabi'i, 2 harakat. So the first mad is mad badal in wasl and waqaf, 2 harakat, and on this alif we have mad tabi'i in wasl and waqaf. Here in la yu'akhidhukumullahu, we have a hamza followed by an alif, which is mad shabi bil badal in wasl and waqaf, 2 harakat. So to know how to identify a shabi bil badal from a true badal, you need to watch my video on the comparison of mad badal with shabi bil badal. Here in jaza'an wa masiran, jaza'an wa, on the alif, which has a mad sign on it, we have mad muttasil in wasl and waqaf, 4 or 5 harakat, and in stopping we stop on the hamza, we stop on the tanween which is written above the hamza. There is ibdal of the noon of tanween into alif, which results in mad badal due to iwad in waqaf. So we have jaza 2 harakat. So we have mad badal in stopping due to iwad, due to the tanween being substituted into an alif, into a mad letter. In this example, we have a mad letter, alif, with a mad sign above. So again, this is the same as in the previous word, previous page. It's mad farak, which was the meeting of hamzatul istifham, questioning hamza, with hamzatul wasl, which has resulted in the change of the hamzatul wasl into a mad letter, and as a result we have mad lazim, mad faraq. So mad faraq has 2 ways of reading. We can either read it as mad lazim, which is the preferred way, which is 6 harakat, Allahu, or we read it with tasheel, and with tasheel we're reading the second hamza in between alif and hamza. So it's neither a clear hamza, it's neither a clear alif, with no mad. Allahu, Allahu. So in this example we can see 2 mad letters, one waw madiyya written in its minor form with a mad sign above it, and the word is ending in a waw madiyya also. So we need to identify the mad for each of these letters. So the first one is mad muttasil, because we have a mad letter followed by a hamza in the same word. So it's mad muttasil, 4 or 5 harakat in wasl and waqaf. And the second one, in the first instance it looks like mad tabi'i, but we can see that it's preceded by a hamza. So therefore the reason of the mad is hamza, and badal is stronger than tabi'i according to the levels of Mudood. So we will call this mad badal in stopping and in continuation. So we wouldn't call this mad tamkeen, because mad tamkeen in continuation is a type of mad tabi'i, and badal is stronger than tabi'i. So in continuation and stopping, we would call this mad badal. لِيَسُوءُوا وُجُوهَكُمْ لِيَسُوءُوا. So here again, in the first instance, it looks like mad tabi'i, but we can see that the hamza is preceding the mad letter, therefore badal is stronger than tabi'i, so we will call this mad badal in wasl and waqaf, 2 harakat. Here we can see that the alif has a mad sign above it. So this is mad munfasil hukmi, 4 or 5 harakat in wasl and waqaf. And in stopping, we will stop with mad tabi'i, and in continuation, we will drop the mad due to the meeting of 2 sukoons. Ya ulil abasar. And in stopping, Ya uli. And in the next example, we can see the small waw written in its minor form with the mad sign above it. So any letter which has a mad sign above it will either be a mad munfasil, mad muttasil, or a mad lazim. So here we can see that the hamza is in the following word and not in the same word, so therefore we say it's mad munfasil haqiqi in wasl, in continuation, and in stopping it's mad tamkeen, because we have a waw madiyya and a waw mutaharrik next to each other. So in continuation, وَإِن تَلْوُوا أَوْ تُعْرِضُوا, and in stopping, وَإِن تَلْوُوا. So here we can see there are 2 mad letters. We have an alif and we have a ya mad. So on the alif, we can see it's preceded by a hamza, therefore we can say it's mad badal in wasl and waqaf, 2 harakat. And the ya mad is followed by a hamza in the next word, which makes it mad munfasil haqiqi in continuation, and in stopping it's just mad tabi'i, because there's no reason for the mad. The reason for the mad is in the following word. So in continuation, قَالَ سَآوِي إِلَى جَبَلٍ, and in stopping, قَالَ سَآوِي, 2 harakat mad tabi'i. So here we can see that we have 2 hamzas in this verb, so something needs to happen in starting of this word. So in starting we have mad badal, so there's a dislike of 2 hamzas meeting in certain words. So in this verb we have the meeting of hamzatul wasl with hamzatul qata'. The hamzatul qata', the regular hamza, second hamza, changes to a mad letter to match the haraka on the hamzatul wasl. The hamzatul wasl will take a kasra, because the dhamma on the ta is not original. So because the hamzatul wasl is taking a kasra, the second hamza changes to a ya mad, which results in mad badal in starting, ituni. And we also have mad tabi'i on the waw here and mad tabi'i on the ya here. So in continuation, there's no mad at the beginning here. وَقَالَ الْمَلِكُ ائْتُونِي بِهِ, and in starting, ituni bih. So we have mad badal in starting only in this word. So here we can see 3 mad letters. We have an alif at the beginning, we have an alif with a mad sign, and we have a ya with a mad sign. On the first alif we can see it's preceded by a hamza and there's no mad sign, so therefore it's mad badal in wasl and waqaf. The second hamza has a mad sign and it's followed by the second alif has a mad sign and it's followed by a hamza in the same word, which makes it mad muttasil in wasl and waqaf, 4 or 5 harakat. And the third mad letter, the ya, has a mad sign and it's followed by a hamza in the following word, which makes it mad munfasil haqiqi in wasl. And in stopping, there's no reason for the mad to be lengthened 4 harakat because the hamza is no longer read. In stopping we have mad badal because the mad letter is preceded by a hamza. So the reason why we wouldn't call it mad badal in continuation is because munfasil is stronger than badal according to the maratib al-Mudood. So in continuation we will read it as واتبعت ملة آبائي إبراهيم. And stopping واتبعت ملة آبائي, 2 harakat mad badal. So here in mas'oolan, on the waw, we can see the waw mad is preceded by hamza, which makes it mad badal in wasl and waqaf. And stopping on the fatha tanween, we substitute the noon of tanween into an alif in stopping, which is called mad aywad. So in stopping, we have mad aywad, which is a type of mad tabi'i, 2 harakat. Mas'oola. And in continuation, mas'oolan. So in this word, we have 2 mad letters. We have an alif with a mad sign on, and we have a waw with a mad sign on. So previously I said that if we have a mad letter with a mad sign on it, it will either be a mad muttasil, mad munfasil, or mad lazim. We can identify if it's a mad lazim if it's followed by a letter with a shadda. And there's only one place where the mad lazim is not found without a shadda, and that's the word al-an, which we've had on one of the previous slides. And if the mad letter is followed by a hamza, then it's either a munfasil or a muttasil. So here we can see that the mad letter in both places is followed by a letter with a shadda. So this makes both of these mad letters mad lazim kalmi muthaqqal in wasl and waqaf. قال أتحاجوني. So here at the end we have mad tabi'i on the yamad. So here we have an alif with a mad sign on here, and we also have a yamad in this word here. So in the first alif, we can see that the mad letter is followed by a hamza in the same word, so that makes it mad muttasil in wasl and waqaf. And we can see that the second mad letter, the ya, is preceded by a hamza, which makes it mad badal. So we have mad muttasil in wasl and waqaf, and we have mad badal in wasl and waqaf. So although we have the meeting of 2 yas, we have a meeting of ya mad and ya mutaharrik in wasl in continuation, we wouldn't call this mad tamkeen in continuation, because mad tamkeen is a type of mad tabi'i, and mad badal is stronger than mad tabi'i. So therefore we will call this mad badal in wasl and waqaf. So we will read it as وَاللَّائِي يَئِسْنَ مِنَ الْمَحِيضِ. And in stopping, وَاللَّائِي. So here we need to identify what we have here. So in continuation, there are no mad letters because all the letters have a haraka. Inna waliyya Allahu alladhi nazzala al-kitab. And in stopping on this word, we stop with sukoon on the last letter ya, and it's preceded by a ya with a haraka. So therefore we have mad tamkeen in stopping, and mad tamkeen is a type of mad tabi'i. Inna waliyyi, inna waliyyi. In stopping we have mad tabi'i, mad tamkeen. So here we need to identify which mad letters we have here. So on the first word, liyubdiya, in stopping, we stop with sukoon on the ya, and it's preceded by a kasra, so we have mad tabi'i in stopping only. And on the second word, on the first mad, on the first waw, we have mad tamkeen in wasl and waqaf. So it's a mad tamkeen is the meeting of 2 waws, a waw mutaharrik and a waw maddiya. It can either be in one word or it can be between 2 words. So here we have mad tamkeen in one word, and in stopping we stop with a sukoon on the ya, and it's preceded by a kasra, so therefore we have mad tabi'i in waqaf. So in continuation, فوسوس لهم الشيطان ليبدي لهما ما وري عنهما. And in stopping on here, ليبدي with mad tabi'i, and in stopping here, wuri مد طبيعي on at the end of both words. I pray that you have benefited from today's video. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك.
وأن أتلو القرآن فمن اهتدى فإنما يهتدي لنفسه ومن ضل فقل إنما أنا من